Good morning, everybody. It is Monday, August 16th, and this is our morning drive live. I want to talk today about probably the number one place where I see business owners of all types, not just dental offices, but business owners and managers fail. And that is with setting proper expectations with your team. I see so many office managers, so many dentists posting all over the place that their team is not living up to their expectations. Their team is not getting the work done, is not following the protocols, is not doing whatever it may be. And what can I do about it? And my first response anytime anybody posts a question like that is, have you set the proper expectation? It's very difficult to hold somebody to a standard if they don't truly know and understand what that standard is, what the expectation is. And, when I say setting an expectation, I mean a very clear guideline and expectation. So, I will tell my scheduling coordinators, I expect you to make X number of calls every single day to patients with unscheduled treatment. I expect you to make X number of calls every day to patients who are past due on their recalls. And I'm not being arbitrary. I'm not saying, I expect you to make outstanding treatment calls every day. I'm saying I expect you to make 40 outstanding treatment calls every day, or 20 every day, or whatever it may be for your office and for your business. It's our job as business owners, as managers, to set realistic targets for every person in our office, whether that be a hygienist who has a production goal, whether that be a scheduling coordinator who has a number of phone calls goal, whether that be a walkout, the person who is at the front desk doing your walkouts, who's collecting patient copays and deductibles. They have a target percentage that they need to collect at walkout. Now for me, that's 100%, but it can be different depending on the office, the dentist, the demographic. There's a lot of different options there. But everybody should have a very clear target about what there is to do. It should be in writing. It should be spelled out. Now, we as managers, as business owners, have two jobs. Number one, to give our team members those very clear guidelines of what is expected of them. And number two, to make sure they have all of the tools that they need in order to do that job. So, when we talk about a scheduling coordinator whose target goal is, we'll say 25 phone calls every day to patients who are past due on their recall, patients who have fallen off the schedule. They need a telephone, naturally. They need a list of patients to call, naturally. But they also need the training to know what to say, when to call, how to get those patients reactivated, and how to report back to you what their success rates were. We use a call log that will tell us, here's the date, here's the patient that I called, here's what happened. Did I leave a message? Did I speak with them? Did I speak with them and they scheduled? Did I speak with them and they said they moved? Did they speak with them and they're changing dentists? Whatever it may be. So, that ability, that tool that we need to give them to report back to us what happened, is a tool that we have to give to our team so that we're able to track not only their results, because, we're going to hold them accountable for those 25 calls a day, but it's also a tool to help us know what their results are and where we can train them, where we can alter their behavior, their response, their wording, whatever it may be, in order to make them more successful. Every team member in your office wants to be successful, but a lot of times they don't know how to get them there, get themselves there. And that's one of our jobs as managers, one of our jobs as owners, is to make sure we're giving the employees the training that they need in order to be successful in their job. When I have an employee who is not doing well, who is failing at their job, I never assume it's their fault. It is always my fault. It's my fault they can't do their job because I haven't given them the tools they need, part of which is training, in order to do that. But by having a tracking mechanism that is used, that is consistent, that gives us the ability to look at where we need to train these people differently or more or better, and know how we can help them to be successful in their job. Whether that's changing the time that they're calling. If they're making 25 calls and getting 24 voicemails, are they calling at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when everybody's at work? If they're talking to 24 people, but they're only getting one scheduled, is that because their phone script, because they're training on what they're saying and how they're conveying the importance of getting into the office for their cleanings isn't adequate? So, it gives us that tracking mechanism, not only tells us they're hitting their goals, but tells us where we need to improve our training system in order to make them better. And it's the same for any position within the office. So, please make sure you are communicating your expectations to your team, and that you have a tracking mechanism that will not only confirm that they're doing their job, but also help us identify where we can do better in their training, in their learning, in their skill set, in order to make them more successful in their job. So that is it. I am here. Everybody have a fantastic Monday, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, August 17th, and this is our morning drive live. So it's going to be a different route this morning because I have to make a pit stop on my way into the office to pick something up. So a little bit of a different route, but we'll get there all the same. So I want to talk today about explaining to patients why they all of a sudden have a fee for their free cleaning that they come in for every 6 months because they have used one of their exams for a limited exam sometime throughout the year. They came in for a problem, and you build out a limited exam. Let's say the patient was in the office in March had a Profian exam. That's one recall exam that they've used. Now they were in May because they had a problem. Maybe they had an abscess, they broke a tooth, they were in pain, whatever it may be. You build out a DO 140. Now they're coming back in September for their recall visit, and they're going to owe the exam portion because they've hit their exam frequency of 2 per year. They used a DO 120 in March. They used a DO 140 in May. Now they're coming back in September for a DO 120, and they're going to owe that portion because they've hit their exam frequency. So, somebody asked yesterday in the group, how do you explain that to a patient? And I explain it just like that. I just say, remember, Mr. Smith, you were here in March, you had an exam, you were here in May when you came in for that toothache, for that emergency, whatever it may be. You used one of your exams, and now you're coming back for another exam, but your plan only allows 2 exams per year. So this third exam, you are going to have to pay for. That's how I explain it. It's very, very simple. However, not every office catches those. Not every office knows that that's going to happen. They don't realize, they don't pay attention to the exam frequency, whatever it may be. Which is why I have been saying for years and years and years, this is one of the many reasons why every single patient coming in the door should be signing a treatment plan. Even if you expect insurance to pay 100%, you still should have them sign a treatment plan. Again, this is one of those instances why that comes in handy. Number one, if you're using a software like Open Dental that will track exam frequencies, it will tell you right off the bat, oops, the patient's going to owe this money. You print out the treatment plan, it will show the patient portion as due, and you're good to go. You know to collect, the office doesn't miss it, the patient is expecting it, and it's all done and taken care of. The other instances why I tell people to do that are if a patient has a retroactive termination. You have to have something in writing showing that the patient was aware of a balance, was aware of a bill, that they accepted the treatment, and hence are responsible for it. So every time a patient walks in the door, whether they're having a recall exam, recall prophy visit, whether they are having a crown done or dentures or whatever it may be, every time I have them sign a treatment plan. Now, if there's a retroactive termination, I want it pointed out that, look, you accepted the treatment, you knew this was our fee after what we anticipated your insurance would pay, you owe the balance. It's not our fault that your insurance was retroactively and it looked like you had insurance, but you didn't actually have insurance at the time. So I have them sign a treatment plan. Again, exams and this frequency limitation are another way. This goes back to us educating our patients on insurance and what it really means. Every one of your patients should know they have an exam limitation, a frequency limitation on that. Every patient should know they have a missing tooth clause if they do. They should know they have a waiting period. They should all know that and be explained to that in advance. When I verify coverage, when I verify their insurance at the beginning of the day, before their appointment, one of the first things I do when that patient walks in the door is take 2 minutes and sit down and review with them all of the limitations that their plan has. I explain it in simple English, help them understand, and hopefully that alleviates some issues moving forward. So, again, just something to keep in mind. Make sure they're signing treatment plans. Make sure they're aware of their exam frequencies, and it will alleviate some of those screaming, yelling phone calls that we get when we send out bills. So hopefully that helps. Everybody have a great day. I will see you guys tomorrow. Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, August 18th, and this is our morning drive live. I want to talk today about adjustments and adjustment types and why having different adjustment types is important. So, a lot of this comes down to your practice management software and how your practice management software is set up. But the main reason that we have different adjustment types is so that we can track what's being done and why. So, for example, in my software, I will have an adjustment type for, friends and family. If we're giving a discount, I will have an adjustment type for bad debt write-off. I will have a different adjustment type for every reason why something is being done at not the normal price. I also will have an adjustment type for each individual insurance company. So every insurance company that I am in network with, I will have an adjustment type for that insurance company, for that fee schedule. So I may have a Carrington adjustment type, a Delta Dental adjustment type, a Cigna adjustment type, Aetna, MetLife, so on and so forth. And the reason I do that, and again, it depends on how your software is set up and which software you use, but the reason that I do that is so that I can very easily pull a report that will tell me how much did it cost me to be in network with Delta Dental last year? How much did it cost me to be in network with Cigna last year? How much did it cost me that the doctor would say to a patient, oh, we can absolutely do that for free, or, if you get these 3 crowns done, I'll just do that filling for you, because even though that's not supposed to happen, we know that happens. And I want to have hard numbers to be able to review whether that's monthly or quarterly or even annually with the doctors, with the owner, with whoever it needs to be reviewed with, showing them how much something is costing us every time we do it. Now, if you have EagleSoft and you're set up with fee schedules and percentages, we have the managed care reports, we have some other options for tracking the insurance write-offs, but any other adjustments that get done, I still want to be tracking. And I still want the ability to be able to go back and look at those adjustment reports and know this is how much we wrote off for Delta Dental. Now, why this is important is because a lot of offices don't understand, and I am totally and completely amazed every day at the calls we get at my office saying, I just looked at a patient's account and saw that you guys did a $132 adjustment when you were entering their payment. Why? Why did you do a $132 adjustment on there? And the reply is always, because you're in network and you charged out your full office fee on the ledger. So, we did that $100 adjustment because you're in network, you charged $300, they allow $200, that is a $100 insurance adjustment. And I'm amazed at the number of offices, at the number of dentists, and at the number of office managers who don't understand that when you're in network, you have to do that adjustment. You have to do that write-off to come down to the network allowance. But tracking each individual adjustment type lets us then show them, helps them to understand what it's actually costing them to be in network. So again, this is just one more tool, one more way that we're able to track the actual cost of being in network with an insurance plan and make an educated decision on when and if we're going to drop a network. We're going to drop our participation status. We're going to go out of network, whatever it may be. It's one more tool, but also more importantly, like I said, we all know that the dentists love to bundle things. They love to help the patients out and try to give them discounts, and we know how we have to reflect that on the claim forms, and we understand all of that already. But I find it very, very helpful at the end of the year to be able to sit down with the doctor and say, look, here is what it cost us last year. Every time you said, oh, we can do that. Oh, we can include that. Oh, let me knock some off there for you. Let me help you out. Now I'm not talking about free work done for employees, although that is a different adjustment type, so we can track that as well. And I'm not talking about free work done for family members of either the dentist or the employees. Again, that is also a separate adjustment type. But just those, the dentist wanting to be a nice person and help out the patients. Track those discounts. Track your write-offs by insurance company. I hate when I log into an office's system and their adjustment types are bad debt write-off and insurance discount or insurance adjustment. Make sure that you are specifying when or what type of insurance write-off it is. So one for each individual insurance company. That is absolutely the way I did it. So when we talk about, well, wait, let me see here. Now that I'm parked, I can actually read something. Don't do the adjustment until after the EOB comes back. If you're in network and your system is set up to do fee schedules, your system is set up to calculate those automatically, I prefer it that way. I want my fee schedule set up in my practice management software. I want those adjustments to be done automatically so that I'm posting to the ledger and to the reports the actual production, not the big inflated number that is never going to be collectible. I prefer to have my system set up to do those write-offs at the time of walkout, still submit the full fee on the claim, but post the allowed fee to the ledger. That reduces the number of write-offs that have to be done when the payments come in. It also reduces that inflated number. When an office looks at their report at the end of the day and says, hey, we produced $10,000 today, but you actually didn't. You actually produced 7,200 after adjustments. I prefer to have it done automatically. I'd rather know I produced 7,200 up front than have to look at it backwards. Tomorrow, Angie, different adjustments, the legalities of doing other adjustments, not contractual, but discounts. We're going to talk about that again tomorrow because that's been a pretty popular topic. So I am here. Hopefully that helps. Everybody have a great day. Tomorrow we're going to talk about that, and Angie, I'll answer your question in the comments here, but we're going to talk about discounts again tomorrow. Everybody have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. Good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, August 19th, and this is our morning drive live. I've seen a number of posts in other groups over the past 24 hours or so asking about OSHA and HIPAA training and who everybody uses to do that. People looking for online sources that they can cheaply have their employees go online and watch a video and fulfill the annual training requirements for compliance. And I just want to put out there the facts about the annual training for OSHA and HIPAA compliance. They require annual training for your entire team, as well as training upon hire. HIPAA typically states you have 14 days to get employees through your office's training. OSHA is immediately. So really their first or second day of work, they should be going through your office's OSHA training plan. Now, the problem with the online training websites, the videos that you can watch and you get the cute little certificate, they do not meet the annual training requirements. The annual training requirements for both OSHA and HIPAA state that the annual training has to be on your office's site-specific plans and procedures. So, taking a class online that's about general OSHA law or about the rules or about how to create your plans and programs does not meet the annual training requirements and does not meet the training requirements for new employees unless it is customized for your office. So the best way to train new employees and the best way to train your existing employees annually, as is required, is by simply reviewing, going over your office's site-specific plans. If you watch a video online or if you take a class online about OSHA compliance that you think is going to meet the requirement, it doesn't include your office's specific policies. Every office is going to have a different policy on where they go if you experience a needle stick, on where your rally point is. So if you have to evacuate the building during work, if there's a fire, if there's an emergency, and you have to evacuate your building, Every business in the country, per OSHA, needs a rally point. That is a point where all of the employees know to go in case of an evacuation so that they can be accounted for, so you can make sure everybody is out of the building, that you have all of the employees outside safe, everybody's okay. If your training doesn't include where that rally point is, then you're not compliant. If your training on your bloodborne pathogen plan does not include the location of hand wash stations throughout your office, then you are not compliant. If it does not include the location of sharps containers, you are not compliant. If it doesn't include the specific hazards according to the hazard communication standard that are in your office, the dangerous chemicals that we have in our office that are specific to your office, then your training is not compliant. So, you really have to make sure you're doing this the right way, because OSHA inspections in dental offices are going to continue to increase through the pandemic, um, because of the number of complaints that they are receiving. Um, the number of complaints OSHA is receiving about dental offices from current and former employees has increased exponentially over the past year, and it's only going to continue to increase as they come out with new rules, new standards. They come out with the emergency technical standard, um, which is an enforceable standard. It's going to increase, and the last thing anybody wants to do is to find out that the training that you've been doing for the past 5 or 6 years for your entire team has not met the requirements that OSHA has in place for the annual training. So please realize that, the HIPAA training, it has to include your office's site-specific policies. Every office has a different policy on what websites an employee is allowed to go to, on what their sanction policies are. What the sanction policy is, just a punishment for an employee who doesn't follow the rule. Is it a verbal warning? Is it a written warning? Is it termination? Is it suspension? Whatever it may be. But those sanction policies have to be part of your annual training. And it may be something that is variable from office to office. In my office, walking away from your computer without locking your computer, without having it behind password protection, is a immediately fireable offense. But in your office, you may be able to give a written warning or a suspension before terminating someone for doing that. It just depends on the risk. But that's something that is specific for each office. It's different for every office. And you just want to make sure that that is part of your annual training. And I don't know how a generic online website training is going to meet those requirements that talk about the specific training for your office. So again, just something I want everybody to keep in mind. Going to an annual convention, going to a seminar, taking online training that is generic does not meet the annual training requirements. And we have to make sure we are meeting those requirements as we are moving forward. It's going to become more and more important to offices as we progress through this. So that is it. I am here. Everybody have a great day. I will see you guys tomorrow. Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, August 20th, and this is our morning drive live. I want to talk today about the importance of your documentation, because it's getting to be more and more important for your providers to be doing SOAP notes. And I need for everybody to understand why this is. SOAP notes are, I will say, considered the standard in the medical industry for chart notes. And, there's a reason for that. It's because it gives all of the information about the interaction, about the service, about the diagnosis, what you're doing, and why you're doing it. And a lot of dentists, even though they know what a SOAP note is, think that we don't have to do that. Just doing a note that says, tooth number 5 is missing a cusp, doing a full porcelain crown, next visit delivery is a sufficient note. But here is what is happening, and these are a few examples of things that have happened this week in my office for a couple of our clients across the country. So yesterday, we finally got an answer back to an appeal we had filed 6 weeks ago for a night guard. It was filed through Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts. And when it was originally filed, 3 months ago, the insurance company requested a copy of the SOAP note with the night guard, which, according to the doctor's chart note, was for bruxism. So we sent in the chart note that they had, which of course was not a SOAP note, but was just a regular standard dental office chart note. And Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts wrote back and said, we need a SOAP note. And they attached a very nice 3-page explanation of what a SOAP note was, to which we said, thank you, we'll get it taken care of. We sent that over to the doctor and told them, we need a SOAP note. Like we've been telling you for the past 8 months, your chart notes should be SOAP notes. We need a SOAP note to get this night guard paid. So the doctor wrote a SOAP note, sent it to us. Well, it was in their system, but emailed us and told us, okay, it's in there. We sent that to Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts, to which they wrote back, and we just got their answer yesterday. The SOAP note is dated after the date of service. Please provide a SOAP note dated prior to or the day of the date of service in question for the night guard. Of course, they know one does not exist. But here's the kicker. Because this office is in network with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts, we are not allowed to charge the patient for the night guard because we failed to provide all required documentation, and that is something that falls on the office. So, therefore, you're not allowed to charge the patient. That's a problem. So, that's number one. Number two, we had a very similar situation with Delta Dental of Arkansas for a crown. They want a SOAP note for a crown with an official diagnosis. There isn't one dated prior to or the day of the date of service for the crown. So again, that office is in network with Delta Dental of Arkansas. Gonna be very, very difficult to get that paid. We have filed appeals. We have requested a peer-to-peer, both of which are being denied because we do not have the proper documentation. They don't want to pay one of their dental consultants to do a peer-to-peer if they already know you don't have the documentation. So the documentation is the first step to making sure you get paid. Okay, we also have to realize that consistency in the chart notes is going to become super important, because as we move into next year and the Cures Act portal phase kicks in, patients are going to have real-time, immediate access to your chart notes, and you want them to be sufficient and consistent. So, that is something that is super important. Please, please, please realize that the insurance companies know that you don't have soap notes, even though you should. And they know if they use that as a method of denying payment, that they're going to get a huge percentage of the claims, because they're going to be requesting the soap note. You're not going to have it, or you're going to have it, but it's going to be dated for after the date of service, because we can't falsify a medical record and date something previously. And they know if we had the soap note, we would have sent it to begin with. So, remember, they are looking for reasons to not pay you. And we need to stop making it easy for them by giving them the reason not to pay us. So, please, please, please make sure your chart notes are sufficient. Make sure they contain all of the information that is required, and make sure they are dated prior to or the day of the date of service for the work you are doing. It is very important. It is becoming even more important. And, it's something that every office has to be doing. So we do have a Dropbox full of soap notes. If you search the group for SOAP, SOAP, you will find the link to it. I will also post the link this morning in the comment section of this video. So that is it. I am here. Everybody have a great weekend. I will see you guys on Monday morning.